Here are some of my thoughts on writing and life for August 2026. Having just wrapped up 3 months of book events, and with another 3 to go, I thought I would revisit those early days of being an author, specifically about doing in-person events. I admit that when I first started doing book signings 22 years ago, I was an absolute basket case. I was convinced that A, I didn't belong in that group of real authors who wrote and sold masses of books, while I only had one out and struggled to get it in the hands of readers. B, I couldn't adequately explain what my book, The Gifts of Change, was about, nor why I should have even written it, since I wasn't a college graduate, a counselor, or a psychologist. C, if someone did buy my book and take it home, it wouldn't be long before they would return it to the store and demand their money back. Bottom line, I had no confidence in my work, nor in myself as an author. And I am now certain that came across when I would be doing events. I was afraid to approach prospective buyers, and if someone did stop by my table, I didn't know what to say except, would you please, please, please buy my book? Okay, I didn't exactly say that, but that's probably the message that came across. It didn't help much that when people walked into a bookstore and saw this 50-year-old first-time author with a deer-in-headlights look on her face, they would avert their glance and head in a different direction. Why? Because they had no idea who I was or what my book was about. But if they came to my display, they might be trapped into buying it. So they followed the better safe than sorry rule and avoided me. Now tell the truth. Isn't that what you do when you see someone hawking their wares? Unless you're darn sure you want whatever they have, you can't get far enough away from them. So, exciting? Not exactly. Petrifying? Absolutely. But after more than 2 decades, my attitude toward in-person events has totally shifted due to one simple reason. I no longer focus on selling my books, 11 titles at last count, and instead just talk to people. People like the female Army veteran who, after 20 years of active duty, had now retired. She came to my table with her support dog, and we had an interesting conversation about her service, the challenge of being a single mother and active duty soldier, and my father's service during World War II, and life in general. Or people like the 49-year-old man who is both an artist and a short story writer. What did we discuss? Writing, of course. Who were among our favorite authors, how to track details in a story, and where he could submit his work when it's ready. People like a woman in her mid-30s who was concerned about how her mother was handling the recent loss of her second husband and what she could do to support and encourage the new widow. Why did these people talk to me? I don't know. Maybe because I was there. Maybe because I wasn't shoving my books under their noses, but instead seemed willing to listen to whatever they wanted to discuss. Or maybe because fate put us together for both our benefits. While I don't know if anything I said was what these people needed to hear, I know that I enjoyed talking to them and felt privileged to have them share their stories with me. Too often, we writers get locked in our own private world, working on our creations, and then when it's time to open the door and actually go out and meet people, we don't know how. Or we think that every minute spent out in public has to be all about the sell. And if we aren't doing that, we're failures. Of course, we authors want people to read our books, and even more, we want them to like our work. Our poems and essays are fiction and nonfiction, maybe even enough to post a 2-sentence review on Amazon or at least throw a few stars our way. But we have to remember, what we have to remember, is that the reason we started writing in the first place was because we had something we wanted to communicate to the world at large. Granted, not everyone wants what we produce. People have their own tastes and preferences, after all. But that doesn't mean we can't talk to those people anyway about anything else other than our work. That doesn't make us a bad book marketer, but rather a person who has a genuine interest in other people. And there's nothing wrong with that.